Welcome everybody to Pinfalls and Passports. My name is Daddy Dom, and for those who don't already know, this is a podcast for people just like you who love the sport of professional wrestling, and for members of our WWE travel community Discord to keep us entertained and engaged during the year leading up to WrestleMania 42 in Las Vegas. Now, every episode is filled with a variety of WWE and WrestleMania travel tips, all the latest news, recaps, and rumors from the world of professional wrestling, and a cast of amazing characters that make our community over on the Discord so great. So if you're not a member of the WWE Travel Community Discord, come join one of the fastest growing pro wrestling communities online. You can find the Discord invite link in our podcast bio, and don't forget to follow us on the WrestleMania Travel Discord page on Instagram at Mania Travel Discord. Now today, I'm joined by my co-host, Mirah. Hey Mirah, how you doing?
Hello, good evening. How are you today?
I am good. Thank you very much. Look, we got lots and lots to cover today, including we're going to do a quick Raw recap. We want to hear your thoughts on Karrion Kross contract situation. What is going on with Naomi, the current women's champion, and her current injury status? And is WWE planning on going head-to-head with AEW's All Out with a potential blockbuster matchup? Lots going on at the moment. Before we get into the weeds of that, I wanted to talk through something that's been causing a lot of chatter in the last few days in the WWE Travel Community Discord. And that's the news that On Location has announced they are now taking deposits for WrestleMania 42 in Las Vegas. Now, Mirah, I wanted to chat with you specifically because I know that you have used On Location when traveling for WWE events in the past. So I really want to get an understanding on what your thought, what's it all about? What is On Location? What's your experience been? And should our listeners here today be considering an On Location package for their trip to WrestleMania 42? So start with telling me what is On Location? What
So,
is it exactly?
so On Location is a premium, like luxury. They'll curate packages for a whole bunch of sports. So they'll do it for football, UFC, WWE, any like national sports game. They've done it for it. I believe they've even done it for a college football game as well. Like they do it for a lot of sports.
Okay.
Um, as well, I'm not sure everyone knows, but in the past, WWE did a lot of their travel packages in house, which you got the TLC of, you know, the the tender loving care of the the WWE folks. With One
Yeah.
Location, you still get that a little bit, but they're more like they're trying to sell you this package, or they're trying to sell you the most expensive package that they can get you to buy. I've used On Location twice. Once for Elimination Chamber this past year. It was me, Allie, Katie, and Danny. We all experienced it. We had the silver package, which the silver package I believe included the pre-show hospitality. So that included our food, our drinks. We were able to take drinks. I think two drinks apiece to our seats during Elimination Chamber. So that was a good help. So we didn't have to spend more money, and I
Yeah.
believe that package was maybe $525 USD. Um, and it included early entry into the venue. And I believe that was pretty much it. It wasn't that package didn't really come with a lot, but the
Yeah.
bonus with that, and then obviously our seats as well. So the big thing is the seats, the pre-show hospitality, which is typically food, your drinks, things of that nature. And then I know with other packages it goes on, but Elimination Chamber was just those two main things that stuck out. It was the pre-show and then your ticket for the event. And I guess early entry maybe, but outside of that, that's pretty much it. For that value, I feel like that was really good. The seats were great. The food was really good to eat. Like you didn't have to worry about anything prior to the show. My experience with On Location for WrestleMania is a whole different story.
Okay.
So for WrestleMania 41, I got the gold package. The gold package included the 2-night ticket for both night one and night two, lower bowl. It included the all inclusive hospitality with on stage appearances by Bret Hart and John Cena. You got an exclusive WrestleMania 41 priority pass gifting. So I believe that was like the hat, the little baggie, but a lot of stuff we didn't get until after WrestleMania. So in like the box itself, it was like poker chips, the deck of cards that was WrestleMania 41 related. You got your plaque, all that stuff came after WrestleMania 41, and
Yeah.
that came home. We also got the 3-day pass to WWE World with priority fast pass entrance lane. So when you were shopping, you could use the on location lane in order to access the store. Or there was also a lane to get into WWE World much faster if you had an on location package that included that as well. And
Cool. Cool. Yeah,
then you
because I
had an
remember.
entrance at the stadium.
Yeah. Oh, you had your own entrance to the stadium.
Yeah,
So like
so
you.
yeah, so for the gold pack, I don't know if every member used it, but when you came in for the actual hospitality event, that's where you came in at. Like you didn't really have to
Mhm.
go through the crowd, and you were basically, if you were lower bowl, you were already at your seats. If you had to
Mhm.
go up, the elevator wasn't too far off. So
Cool, cool. Yeah, because I remember at WWE World, for instance, just buying like a day ticket and getting there for the queue and having a queue and queue and queue, and then that's just to get inside World, and then you got a whole other queue you got to queue in then just to get into to the merchandise store.
yep.
I felt I was doing milking, but you guys, what you just kind of just walk straight through, just wander straight through, wave your passes around, and you're in, are you?
Pretty much. So if you had the one location packages, or if you got WWE World VIP, then
Yeah.
those were the first two sets of people heading into World and the store, from what I'm understanding. And
Awesome.
then anybody else they had to queue up, they were still waiting. You got in at the time that everything opened, but they had to like let people through. They stopped, and then when people came out, then they let more through. So that was a plus with it as well.
Nice. So talk me through the booking of it then. How easy was that? Was it quite nerve wracking? Were you excited? What was that like?
So when I was looking into on location, I was basing it off WrestleMania 40. When I got my tickets for WrestleMania 40, I was buying two tickets then, and I knew I wanted lower bowl. I've been to Lincoln, the financial field, so I already kind of knew what I wanted. Well, the seats
Hmm.
I wanted, full transparency for WrestleMania 40. Luckily, my girlfriend had got them for us. Like I was the one finding the seats, but she was the one who got it for us for that. But I looked at the price; it was at least $2,200, and I was like, "Oh, okay. How can I avoid this pre-sale conundrum and like just get the tickets that I want to get?" I was going by myself to Vegas. I knew that. I'm like, let me just make this easy for me. I don't have to worry about the pre-sale stuff. Let me just get a package. I was in communication with On Location for probably months, years. I just never gotten anything from them personally until WrestleMania 41. Typically, you have to do a deposit of $500, and then you have three payments. So your first payment's due when you ultimately buy the package, and then the next one is December, and then the final one is due in February. So
Okay.
that does help you break down the cost. You do have some time to save up, or if you want to pay it outright, you can. But you do have those payment plans to help you out as well. So since I did have lower bowl seating, I was in section 135, row 11, both nights. My section was where Jay came down for his entrance during night one. So that was really cool to see. The pre show hospitality came with a whole bunch of food and stuff as well. I feel like Vegas had a lot more food options. The drinks, you were able to get a lot more. We were able to get shots, we were able to get mixed drinks, we could get beer, soda, all that stuff. So that was like a real good stuff. So if you came to the pre-show hospitality, you were able to get your food, your drinks all in. You didn't really have to buy anything compared to like the actual show. Um,
Nice.
yeah, so
Nice.
that was really, really like convenient there. Overall, for what I paid for the gold package. So there was different tiers to the gold package itself, I believe, seating wise. My package cost $4,000. I didn't do a deposit. I didn't have to do a $500 deposit. So I know that that is what opened now for WrestleMania 42. But my personal experience, I did not do a $500 deposit. I checked my email. I'm like, well, how did I get a package? Oh, it's because I was in communication with them and she wanted to make a sale. So she was like, okay, you want a package? we can get you a package, don't have to worry about it. So the steps is pretty straightforward. You pay a deposit or not in my case. You have your 3 payments, one due when you initially buy, December, and then February. Your seats you do not get until basically the week of WrestleMania. Let's just
Yeah.
say that. Your 3-day pass for WWE World, it was convenient, but I wish I was able to pick the days I was going. The days that they advertised what the 3-day pass was for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Not everyone was going to Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. I know personally I was going Friday, and then I was going to go Sunday and Monday. So 2 of my days went unused. So, and they gave us like a 3-day pass ban, so I couldn't even like try to like sell it if I wanted to.
Yeah, yeah,
So that
yeah,
was kind of like, I'm like, I don't know, I don't really like that we can't choose our days. So that was kind of the downer for me. I'm like, at that rate, y'all could have just gave us a 5-day pass.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
you know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like,
You'd think so,
I feel
right?
like if that was the case, you could have just done the 5-day pass like they were selling anyway. And then also with On Location, the one thing that can be frustrating is that you're planning your WrestleMania week. Some people are coming down there before Mania, as in like they're down there that week before. Some people are coming down there 2 weeks before. So they're able to plan out their schedule accordingly to do touristy stuff. If they want to go try different restaurants, if they want to go to certain shows in Vegas, they have that time. But if you're coming down for maybe like 5 days, maybe 6 days, and you have an on location package, you want to make sure that you're getting everything that you paid for. But then again, if you've already pre-planned, let's say you got tickets to a live podcast, or you got tickets to an indie event, or you have a WrestleCon meet and greet at a certain time, but something's
Yeah,
happening for on location, you're kind of having to pick and choose, losing out on money, or trying to figure out who can buy this ticket really fast off of you. And it's like it's a lot of picking and choosing. Overall, the experience for me with WrestleMania 41, I don't regret it because I wouldn't really be able to talk about it if I didn't do it. I like how you have that ease of just knowing I have my seat. I don't have to worry about that aspect of it. I like how you have payment plans. So like if you're not able to just give out the 4,000 up front or put it on a card, you have time to make those payments over time. But would I do it again? No. I've planned WrestleMania. I've done it where I've done that everything myself for 39, where I purchased each event individually. And that was much cheaper than well, the WrestleMania 39 was also cheaper anyway, but but like planning it out with what you want your schedule to look like
yeah,
was better for me. I think if I do go to WrestleMania 42, I will definitely be buying certain things week of, because WWE likes to give us a world of options. And a lot of times, from what we noticed this past Mania, most of these events still had tickets available that day of, 2 days before. Like nothing was really selling out unless it was a meet and greet of like a huge star, like your Cody Rhodes, your John Cena, just things like that. But for events, you had options still. But would I do it again? No.
no. No, and that is the conundrum, isn't it? Like I know, I've been to the last two WrestleManias, booked them all by myself. I think my first WrestleMania, I just wanted to do everything. I want to experience everything, and I booked everything quite. But Philadelphia was kind of different, it was quite spread out. So you could I'm going to go to this indie event. I'm going to go to that. Vegas, an entirely different beast, and I remember in the run up to this year's WrestleMania, people were booking so much stuff. They were booking so many things, and then something else would get announced, and it was clashing with that. And you're like, oh no, now I kind of want to go to that instead. And I think that's something that we're going to talk about sort of in future sort of episodes, absolutely, and
Hmm.
definitely with regards to the sort of travel tips, what you guys should be looking at booking, what you don't need to sort of book in advance, what you don't need to worry about selling out, because those things are really important. I lost track of the amount of tickets that I just gave away, that I kind of bought sort of in a fear of missing out, thinking, oh, I really want to go to that. And then in the end, something else just kind of happened and it sort of clashed with that. And I wanted to go to that sort of a little bit more. And I imagine if you're the type of person that wants everything sort of planned out for you, you want it kind of all set in stone, you don't want to worry sort of about what your itinerary is going to be like, then On Location sounds like an absolute dream come true. And if you just want to do that whole sort of WWE experience, it sounds like something really, really cool. But, if you do want to go and venture out, do some of the other stuff, see some of the indie shows, maybe go and see the podcast and not be as sort of strict sort of in your calendar, and especially in Vegas when there's not just wrestling stuff to do. There's a whole, if you haven't been to Vegas before, there's a whole hell of other stuff you might want to do sort of when you're in Vegas as well to keep you entertained. It literally is the adults' Disneyland. So yeah, I think, when it comes to booking, think about what kind of journey you want when you go to Vegas. Think about that time you have and sort of spend it wisely. Just touching on there, was there anything in those On Location packages, any surprise upgrades, any perks that made you think, wow, okay, this is next level, this is super cool? Anything that stood out?
So during like the pre-drop, like hospitality, like they had a lot of superstars that circulated around. So you were able to take pictures with them, conversate with them pretty briefly. That was pretty cool. Again, what stuck out to me is that we were able to get as many drinks as we really much wanted to, 'cause of what you paid for. So that like really stuck out to me as well. But I feel like I'm a planner and I like to know what I'm doing. So just doing like my research with On Location and talking to people that have done it for either WrestleMania 40 or other like big events, I knew I couldn't pack up my schedule because I didn't really know what to expect. So for me, the big one was NXT Stand and Deliver. I love NXT. I love going to their shows when they're in Philly, or just like I just love like supporting that brand. So I had got floor seats for it. Well, the hospitality show started really early because again, we're in the West Coast. So everything was like really early. I think the hospitality for On Location started at 11:30, I want to say. So that was like right in the middle of Stand and Deliver. So I had to either say, I'm not going to make it to the hospitality party that day, or
Yeah.
I'm just going to leave in between Stand and Deliver, which luckily I just left. I actually gave Austin my like floor seat for that. So he was able to get like a whole bunch of like good shots and stuff. And he really did enjoy himself. But if I didn't think of that, or was like, this ticket is going to go to waste.
Yeah.
So that was like my only hiccup with my schedule, because I tried to
Yeah.
just like let WWE be the focal point around it, but it's kind of hard to do when like you're like, dang, like I want to go to either Bloodsport, or I want to go to this event, or I want to do this meet and greet. It's really hard to plan when you're waiting on an itinerary that doesn't show up until basically right before you leave for your trip.
Yeah. Yeah, and that does sound like sort of bad planning on behalf of WWE and On Location, really, because I remember Cookies, who's also in the server, had that same problem. She was supposed to go into the hospitality event, and there was no way that she was going to get from Stand and Deliver, which went like super longer than it has
Yep.
done in the last few years. I think like I remember looking, because there was a few questions about how long is Stand and Deliver going to be? Are we going to get time to get to WrestleMania and all this? And I was looking, and if you look through Stand and Deliver, like it was pretty much exactly the same like length of time for like the last like 3 or 4 years running.
Yep.
It was like 2 hours and 4 minutes or something like that every single like year, no fail. This year, it just went on and on and on. And there was people there going, how am I going to get to this hospitality event? And they didn't. Of course, they didn't. They wanted to stay for Stand and Deliver. Of course you do, because you got your great seats. And, it's NXT Stand
Yeah.
and Deliver. We all know, if you've been at WrestleMania, WrestleMania is great. But as a wrestling event goes, Stand and Deliver is usually the highlight of that
Yep.
weekend. That is the wrestling event to be at, and this year was absolutely no different. Absolutely awesome show. You don't want to be leaving that show early to
Exactly.
be
You
heading
don't really
to something that you don't know what it's going to be like. But at the same time, this is my On Location package. I pay $1,000 for this. I don't want to be missing out on this hospitality event either. But these
Yep.
things are linked. I think On Location, actually, TKO own On Location now, right? Didn't they buy it? Sort of. I think they bought On
Probably.
Location. Yeah, last
Probably.
year. So they own the damn thing. You know, you would have thought that they would have done some sort of better planning for that. So let's hope going into next year there's a little bit of better planning with regard to that. But yeah, hit us up with your on location questions, guys. I know there's a lot of people as well in the survey. If you're in the Discord server, if you're not, if already, head over there, that you have used the on location packages before, and we'll use them again. So if you've got more questions or queries about on location, the different sort of levels that you can get in, what you can kind of get for your money. I've got one question. I know one thing I often hear about is these deposits. If you put a deposit down, do you know what the prices are going to be, Mirah, before you?
So I didn't put a deposit down
Yeah.
before, but I seen it for WrestleMania 42. As I looked briefly at it, and it was like 500 to put down. It didn't give any specifications on what the price of the package would be.
Okay.
Um, but if
So
you're basing it off last year, just know it
yeah.
might go up.
So if somebody's putting down a deposit now to that tomorrow, and I believe the deposit's gone up, I think a little bit, the minimum deposit on what it was from 500, I can't remember what they said it was, but I believe it's more expensive than it was last year. Potentially, you don't know like what the minimum sort of package level, entry level is. You're putting that deposit down. Do you know what happens if you decide not to go with an on location package? Do you get any deposit back or?
I think you get to put it like, let's say if you're like, okay, I can't afford to go to, WrestleMania 42, the packages are
Mhm.
crazy. I've seen in the Discord channel people carry them over to other
To
events.
other events? Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and then I've also heard people requesting for a refund, but I'm not too sure about the refund aspect. But I do know people will transfer them over to other events as well. So let's say instead of going to the WrestleMania, they like, I'm gonna do it for SummerSlam or something, just to use it. It'll be slightly cheaper than what a WrestleMania package might look like.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, we don't know anything really much about the pricing for WrestleMania for next year. I would imagine it's going to go up again. You know, I think I had a similar seat in Vegas as I did to Philly last year, and I think I paid sort of double the amount I paid in Philadelphia with the combo ticket. I don't expect it to double again, but I do expect a sort of little bit of a sort of rise. But I did hear one thing the other day about there is one ticket price which has been announced, and that is if you want the front row experience at WrestleMania 42.
Hmm,
Last year that was hitting headlines
hmm,
because that full package was £50,000. That has gone up.
hmm,
This year it's going to be £75,000 if you want
mhm.
that front row seat at Vegas Mania for the full weekend. $75,000, should I say, not pounds. What do you think of that, Mira? What do you think of that kind of money? If
That's
you
a
had that kind of money, would you
car.
be throwing it around?
I mean, listen. There are some people that will invest in it because it's their hobby and they enjoy it. Like, I think green shirt guy, there's like the people that are always in the front row that have jobs and businesses that allot them to afford it. Me personally, that's paying off student loans, that's paying off a car. Me personally, I can't do that. But for them, if that is something that is your hobby and they have the extra funds to expense that, go ahead by all means.
Absolutely. If I
Do
had
do you?
$100 million in the bank, I might do it once, Mira. I might do it once.
Like like
Maybe
like
one
like
day.
like if I win the lottery, there will be signs, okay? And it will be me calling my on location agent saying, "Hey, we're getting that front row." Okay.
Yeah. So send the helicopter. You think green shirt guy pays 75? You think he's paying that, or do you think he gets a discounted rate?
Think I'm what's the discount? Like $500 off? But no, I think they actually contact all the people that we see at the front for like the big like PLEs. I think they get contacted first about certain seats, or they have connections with Ticketmaster, so they get
Yeah.
certain seats for certain events. Yeah, I think they probably is paying that little hefty fee. Are they going to pay that 75 grand? Yep. Him and all 12 of his friends, gray shirt guy, and all of
Oh
his
yeah.
people we
Oh
see.
oh
Oh
oh yeah.
yeah.
No, make no mistake. We are not gonna see WrestleMania 42 without green shirt guy front row. That is a guarantee. That is a spoiler, if you like.
Oh
Anything you
yeah.
want to add on location before we move on, Mirror?
Um,
Any?
what I will say, it does give you peace of mind. Again, if you are considering it, weigh the pros and the cons, weigh the intentions or the expectations for a lot of events to be announced. So you are going to be battling with the scheduling as well. Um, Note that there is a payment plan, that you are going to have time to make these payments, save up if you have to save up, things of that nature. It's just going to be personal preference. I feel like one location ultimately is personal preference. Someone who goes to events like every year, like myself, and I go every few months, even to events in Philly, I find it easier, or it's going to be easier for me to just plan it on my own. Some people that are like, this is my first WrestleMania, I want to go all out. If you have the funds, by all means, do it. For me personally, I would not do one location again,
Fair
unless it was like
enough.
a cheaper, like PLE.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Mirror. That's great. Right, moving on. Monday Night Raw, live from Quebec City. What did we think, Mira? What I thought it was a pretty average show as Raws have gone recently. What are your thoughts?
The crowd was hot.
The crowd was
Um,
hot. Yeah,
the crowd was hot. We got a few things, but I agree with you. It wasn't the type of Monday Night Raw where I was like drawn in fully. It was like certain spots that would like draw me, and I'm like, okay, I'm expecting for this thing to happen the following weeks to come, or this was a really good match. What stood out
yeah.
to me was Io and Roxanne. That match to me was probably the best match that they had last night. In
Agreed.
all honesty,
Agreed.
in
Yeah.
all
And,
honesty.
and ironically, the one that wasn't supposed to happen, right? Because that was
Right.
supposed to be the Naomi match, and we'll talk about that very shortly and the potential injury situation sort of with Naomi. But yeah, that's the one that wasn't supposed to happen and turned out to be. Yeah, I agree with you. By far the best match on the card. Great
Yep.
showing for Roxanne once again, really sort of cementing herself and showing us what she can do, really, against, some of the best in the division. And we all know that Io is the best in the division.
Best.
More importantly than that, though, the Shoelafalla. What did we think of Bronson Reed Shoelafalla? How many pairs of shoes is he going to take from Roman Reigns before that Shoelafalla is complete?
So I asked Bronson Reed when I met him SummerSlam weekend. I said, "Why did you take that man's shoes?" He said he didn't see it coming. Okay, that's what he said. He said he didn't see it coming, and indeed he did not. I think he's going to take two or three more pairs of shoes until Roman gets his one up on him. I believe the speculation is that it could be Roman and Bronson at Clash in Paris. I think that's the
Perhaps.
speculation. That's what people are thinking. I could see that
Yeah.
happening, especially since, the other match that was announced for that PLE, but we shall see.
Yeah, makes that. I'm sure there's going to be some interaction between. Do we think we get Bronson doing a shoey? We know that Aussies love doing the shoeys from do we do? I want to see Bronson do a shoey out of one of Roman's Nikes. Right? Are we going to get that? Do you think?
I hope we do, because I thought that's what he was doing the first time he
Yeah.
took the
Right.
shoes,
Yeah.
but it just didn't happen. I think we do. I feel like when he gets like this big win, he's going to take one of the shoes. He's going to go to
Yeah.
the He's like, I want a beer, and it'll be the real American beer.
It'll definitely be the real American beer when it'll be straight in there,
Yes.
shoey it, done. Yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
think
what we
so.
need. That's what we need. We 100% need that. We also had Dirty Dom teaming up with El Grande Americano, who was showing off his darting skills in the clubhouse. I love that.
Hmm.
His Spanish, I thought was I don't speak fantastic Spanish, but I thought was absolutely sort of perfect. They put on a sort of okayish match. One thing stuck out to me. Did you notice this? Don won the match with the old El Grande sort of trick of putting the steel in the
Yeah.
in the mask, but the steel came from El Grande's crotch, and then he dropped it, and then Dom put that on his face.
Yeah. 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 I did notice that. I did notice
I thought
that.
I thought that was a bit gross. He didn't even sniff it first.
He didn't.
You
He
think
didn't sniff it.
he
It was
didn't
just
sniff it? He didn't do the sniff
no,
test.
no,
There
he
was no
didn't.
sniff test. That was
He
just
said we
boom,
got
straight
business to
on.
take care of. Yeah, he's like we got business to take care of. He put it in there, and that was it. That was it.
Yeah. That's an odd one for me. That's an odd one for me. If I was going to do that, I think I would have bought my own. Still, I would have put it in my own crotch.
Crotch. Yeah, I'm like I don't know
Yeah.
why he didn't just have it itself because
Yeah, have his own. Yeah, because he was planning on. He had the mask, so he was clearly planning on doing it. So he must have known that the steel plate was in El Grande's crotch, right?
Yep. He had to. He had to have known.
So was that the plan all along?
I think so.
I think so too.
Unless
That's why they call him.
unless it was supposed to be El Grande and then he just gave it to him. But I think that was probably the plan.
I think it was. That's
It's
why they
kind
call
of
him
gross.
Dirty Dom.
Yeah.
We've seen a few El Grande Americanos appear recently, Mirror. Quite a few different ones, different varieties on the show.
Right.
I want to ask you quite a serious question now. If you were to pick the next El Grande Americano, who would your choice be and why?
Like seriously, or actually like it could just be anybody, like
wrong answers only type thing.
Oh, wrong answers only. Mark Calloway, Mr. Undertaker.
Mark Calloway.
Yep.
What LFG Mark Calloway? Yeah.
Yes, LFG Mark Calloway.
Yeah, that's what we need. Yeah, the dead man, but not the dead man.
What about you? Who would you
nearly
pick?
dead man. Me. I feel we need a bit more diversity in the group. There's too many Mexicans currently.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So we
Right.
need Omos.
No one would even know. Nobody would even know.
Think about it. El Grande Black Americano por favor. See?
No one, you wouldn't even know that it's Omos. Wouldn't even know. Couldn't tell.
There we go. Couldn't tell. That would be my pick anyway. One more thing that stood out for me. Bayley's promo. That was different. I think one thing we've been screaming out from Bayley for quite a while now is, damn, we're bored of this Bayley shtick. Are we going to go somewhere different? That gave me a glimpse of hope that we're going to see a different side of Bayley. Do you see a newer sort of iteration of the Bayley character coming out of this?
I definitely do. I see it more being like a dark character, like a Mystique type of character. I'm very interested to see where she takes it because I know she's very likable, but then I know the audience gets stale of being likable. So what can she do to change it up? I'm very curious to see. Like she said in her promo, she's been doing this for over 13 years. So we'll see what that looks like, how it's going to come to fruition. I don't know if it's something where she's going to be like more like the Wyatt Six type of a series, or she's gonna be like her own thing. But I'm very curious to see what her character is gonna be, what her look is gonna be, the song and everything.
Yeah. You know what? When she said 13 years, I was like, is it only been 13 years?
Yes.
It feels like a lot longer. But yeah, look, I love Bayley. I think we all know how talented she is. I wouldn't say she's underutilized because I just don't think she creates enough buzz with what she's tried to do in recent years in order to sort of get to that level that we know she can perform at successfully when she's there. So I really, really hope for Bayley that this is kind of like a turning point in her character, and this is something where she can sort of move on in the sort of more of the sort of twilight of her career, really, as one of the one of the originators of the women's revolution, and really hope that she has one last really cool run for Bayley. So good luck to Bayley. I'm really looking forward to seeing what you got coming up next. Anything else from Raw sticking out to you, Mirah, that you want to talk about?
The Kabuki Warriors.
Yes.
The seeds are being hinted that there is a heel turn happening against Io.
Looks that way.
There's also Rhea and Io. You know, they've always been relatively friendly competitors, and they've always kept it, like that. But it seems like they may be coming A little bit closer than just friends. They might become
They,
tag team.
well, it seems a lot more than friends, doesn't it? And I wasn't
Yeah.
thinking tag team. They seem very, very close
They do
and
seem very
intimate
close
at the
though.
moment, don't they? Yeah, they seem to be getting along. But, and that brings us on to Naomi, who was obviously missing from Raw this week, apparently not medically cleared to appear. We haven't heard any other official news from WWE, but some reports have suggested that potentially this is a long layoff for Naomi. If they do have to sort of strip her of that title, where do WWE go next, you think, with this women's championship? And does that mean that this Rhea and Io friendship has to come to a very sort of sudden end because we're gonna have to sort of fill it with those two and finish off that story of Rhea being completely winless over Io, or is Rhea gonna finally get that win over Io and at the same time maybe claim that WWE championship? What do you think?
If Naomi is indeed injured or needing to take the time off, or, whatever the case is, if they do have to strip her from the title, we have Stephanie. Stephanie won that battle royale back at Evolution. She's
True.
due for a
Yeah.
title match. So obviously, Stephanie will be in a match. I think if they announce anything about Naomi's status, then and if she is going to be stripped of it, then they're probably going to do some type of eliminator challenge type of thing. So where it'll probably be Stephanie and whoever wins it, Clash of Paris for the belt. I don't think they should put it on anyone before Clash in Paris, in my opinion. I think they should just have
No.
it be vacant until Clash in Paris, so then it just leaves it up for
Yeah.
ambiguity, like who's going to win. But if this isn't work and Naomi is taking this injury, it could lead to some confusion during the PLE itself. It could be like, oh no, ain't nothing wrong with me. I'm about to get in this match right now. It could be anything like that. But I'm wishing Naomi the best if she is injured or if she is, depending on what the speculations are. I really hope she is okay. Whoever gets that belt next, hold on to it, please.
Yeah.
Do it well.
Absolutely. I hope. I mean, this could just be she wasn't feeling very well that
Right.
day. Maybe I don't
Hmm.
know. She could have COVID. It could be anything. She
It
could have
could be
just
anything.
tweaked her muscle. Let's hope that Naomi is fine. Let's hope that we see her back on TV next week holding that championship because she is due a fantastic run. I think we all want to
Hmm.
see it. She started it off on such a high, I think, in my opinion. Her character at the moment is absolutely top level. She's so over. We wish all the best for Naomi, and hopefully we'll see her back on TV next week with that championship.
I
Um,
hope so.
let's talk about one other bit of news that's flying around this week: the Karrion Kross and Scarlett contract situation. What's going on here? Is this a work? Is this for real? What are your thoughts, Mirror?
Oh, I think this is very much real. I think the release is not a work. I think this was Carrie and Scarlett and the WWE just having to part ways.
Yeah.
Um, I think Carrion's character is very unique. He is super athletic. I was a fan of him back in his NXT days. I've seen him on the Indies when he was first released from there, and he was phenomenal. I think there's just something that's not clicking for him in WWE once he got to that main roster. Whether it was Vince messing him up with that character that he gave him or whatever it was, but the transition over to the main roster just has not been the best for him. Yes, he has fans online, and that's great, but it's not transitioning into the arena. It's not transitioning into the crowd. I feel like that's like the big thing there.
And I think you hit a great point there, Mirror. We all hear about the "We Want Cross" chants and trending #1 on Twitter, and all the internet wrestling community is all sort of going sort of wild about this sort of stuff. But in reality, when we watch Raw on Monday night, where were those "We Want Cross" chants? Did we hear them? I don't remember hearing sort
No,
of
I don't
any
I don't
in
think
that in
so.
that crowd. So is the popularity of this guy I know he's got his fans. I'm a big fan of Karrion Kross and Scarlett. I love them. I remember seeing them at Ric Flair's last match in Nashville a few years ago. I love the work that Karrion was doing sort of on the indie scene. You're right. It hasn't really hit. It has been picking up some momentum for sure, and he's definitely got a lot of fans at the moment. That video that he did the other day that he released sort of on the release, I believe that's up to nearly 500,000 views. So look,
Yeah.
this guy's creating interest, and he's going to be absolutely fine. Whatever the situation is, this guy is going to be fine. And I think it's, even if it is a work, it's the contract at the end of the day was coming to an end. Whether he signed a new contract with WWE, we don't know. Maybe part of the plan is, do the kind of Matt Cardona thing where he sort of goes out sort of on the indie scene, but the plan is actually just to build him up and build up the steam. And the plan is to bring him back in a few months' time once he's sort of built that sort of fan base, and hopefully he can bring with him. Maybe that's kind of all sort of part of the work. Who knows? Who knows? Or maybe it's all the work. We're all been worked completely, and maybe he's gonna come back, and we're gonna see some kind of invasion angle from him. Who knows? Whatever happens, all the best for Karrion Kross and Scarlett, of course. Absolutely love those guys. Wish them all the best, and wherever they end up, they are going to be absolutely fine. I'm absolutely sure. Just before we finish up, there's a rumor, and I think it's a bit more than a rumor now, that WWE is planning on going head-to-head again with AEW on their all-out pay-per-view with a potential blockbuster matchup. If the rumors are to be found to be true, this is where they're planning on doing Cena versus Lesnar on the same night as AEW's All Out.
Wow. Who would have thought they would have done that? Who would have thought? I just expect it now.
Yeah. But this is like a few weeks away, right? This is not like they've planned it. All Out, we've known where All Out's going to be for months now. So this is kind of like they're working on the fly now with this. And let's be honest, when they tried this against All In, All In had AEW had their best sort of showing. Not only had the best show, but they had the best revenues that they've had perhaps on a pay-per-view for a long, long time. I think the reports were 185,000 pay-per-view buys, which is, you only have to get the calculator out and work that out at $50 a time. That's a hell of a lot of money. It didn't seem to detract anyone around. I think an average AEW pay-per-view gets around 100,000. So they're All In was not only their biggest crowd, not only their biggest revenue, but also their biggest sort of pay-per-view of the year as well. So the whole WWE sort of overtaking that weekend certainly didn't seem to have any kind of negative effect on AEW that time around. What's their game plan here? What do they think they're gonna get from this? Because people who are going to All Out are still going to go to All Out, right? It's in a different country for a start. So what's their sort of game plan by putting Lesnar and Cena against an AEW show All Out? Because do you honestly think that anybody that's interested in buying an All Out pay-per-view is kind of thinking in the back of their mind, actually, I really kind of want to see Brock Lesnar?
They did this with All In. They did this, and it's going to be quality over quantity. That's something that AEW has been honing in on. Yes, they do have a long pre-show. They do have a long card, but you're getting your money's worth when it comes to an AEW pay-per-view.
Absolutely.
When you're looking at a WWE PLE, you are getting production, you are getting storyline, you are getting a solid 2-3 out of the 5 or 7 good matches. But this isn't even a PLE, this is a special. So it's more so just like you're trying to take eyes off of AEW, which may or may not work. But I know a lot of people are excited to see Brock versus Cena again for the 1000th time. But I think especially they're much older in their careers. Didn't think Brock and Cena would be so soon and so sudden. I thought we would build up to it a little bit, which I guess they have about a month and a half to do, if that is what they're doing. I don't think it's going to hurt AEW in a way. I think AEW has been focusing on what works for them, and their fan base. Like in 2 weeks, they'll be in Philly for over a week, like residency at 2,300. And those shows are selling for what I've seen. I'm going to 2 out of the 7 shows so far. And I'm like, Tony's finally getting it. Like he's doing what works for him and
Yeah.
what works for the company and what works for the talent. I think of AEW, I want something different than WWE. If I'm going to watch AEW, I want wrestling, I want grabs. If I'm watching WWE, this is wrestling, but it's more storytelling. I feel like that's the difference, the major difference between the two. But I don't think it's
Yeah.
going to hurt them.
I don't think it's going to hurt them either. If I'm that AEW fan that's willing to fork out $50 to watch a pay-per-view, and I know, like you say, I'm getting my money's worth, 6 hours, if I take out the 3-hour pre-show last time, so 9 hours of wrestling, basically $50 seems like pretty decent value for me. And I
Yeah.
know that, okay, but I also watch WWE, but I know I can just turn that on the next day and watch it for nothing anyway. Like,
Yep.
I'm still probably parting with my $50 for AEW, watching that show, and then catching up on WWE in the morning. Now, there's also a sort of theory out there that they are talking about Cena's last match, which they haven't agreed a date for yet, but that could potentially be going head to head with AEW's World's End pay-per-view. Now, I have a theory, Mirah, that I want to discuss, because everyone's out there saying that everyone's talking like WWE out to sabotage AEW. They are out to sort of try and sort of stop them from doing business. They're trying to pull people away. I actually don't think. I think it's the opposite. I actually think they're trying to get eyeballs on AEW. They're trying to get eyeballs on wrestling all around, and they're trying to get the chatter up. Now, let's look at a couple of things, right? Who are the two biggest stars in WWE right now? Cody Rhodes and CM Punk, right?
Yep.
Your two biggest baby faces and your two biggest stars. If AEW didn't exist, if it never existed, would we have Cody Rhodes in the role that he is right now as a top babyface, the face of the company, and would we have CM Punk back in WWE? I'm not sure that we would.
I don't think so. I mean, if Cody and all of his compadres didn't get together back when they did, I don't think so. Really don't think so.
No. And I honestly think that they want this. They want this war. They want AEW to succeed. We all know that with regards to viewing numbers and when wrestling was sort of at its highest point was in the real sort of Monday Night Wars, when 10, 12, 15 million people in the United States alone were turning on to watch WCW Nitro, and then 10 million were watching WWE Monday Night Raw. We know that when they're feuding, they are the most successful. I believe that WWE's plan is not to bring down AEW. It's actually to bring it up, because what they are clearly doing in some ways is using AEW as a little bit of a feeder system for their talent. We've seen people, CM Punk and Cody are just two examples, but we've got Mariah May that's obviously gone over to NXT. There's Ricky Starks, or Ricky Saints, whatever you want to call him now, who we know has got big plans for the future, big friends with Cody Rhodes as well. I don't think that this is necessarily about trying to bring them down. I think this is about trying to get eyeballs on wrestling all around. I'm here for it. I love these big weekends. I love watching all the wrestling. I love talking about all the wrestling. So I'm excited. I'm here for it all. So let's have it. Yeah, you want to go one-on-one, put them on the same night, different shows, different countries, one in the afternoon, one in the evening, I don't care. We're going to watch them all anyway. Makes no difference to me. And good luck to both of them. I hope AEW do well at All Out. I'm sure they're going to do well at Forbidden Door in a few weeks when they're in the UK. And yeah, wrestling is in a good place at the moment. And like the bully said, it's a buffet. There's lots out there. Whatever kind of wrestling you like, you can find at the moment. That's all for us, I think, on this episode. Great to talk to you today, Mirah. Thank you for sharing your insights on location. I really hope that's been useful for our listeners. Just to let you guys know, our listeners out there, we are a podcast that we're here to talk about wrestling, but we also want to talk about travel tips and
Yep.
how we can make your experience, your plans, and your travel arrangements sort of easier. So jump on the Discord if you're not there already. If you're not on the Discord, listen to the podcast, because we're going to be following up with episodes in the following weeks talking about when's best to book your flights, how should I be sort of booking my tickets, how do I
Yep.
get the pre-sale codes, what sort of events what are going on around sort of Vegas on Mania weekend should I be looking out for, what are the do's and what are the don'ts, how do I get around Vegas, what about My Vegas, the My Vegas apps, and how you can build up points through there to get freebies while you're in Las Vegas? We're going to be bringing you lots and lots more information over the next few weeks and months in the run up to WrestleMania with regards to all your travel tips related to WWE and wrestling in general. Thank you so much for joining me today, Mirah. It's great to catch up with you. And thank you, everyone else, for listening. We'll catch you all next week.
See y'all. Bye.